Good afternoon. I'm back for another Facebook Live session today. I'm Andrea Lindsay, and I work as the Director of Operations Supplement Safety and Senior Nutrition Scientist with the Henry M. Jackson Foundation for the Advancement of Military Medicine in support of the Consortium for Health and Military Performance, or CHAMP. CHAMP is a center of excellence at the Uniformed Services University. What we'll talk about today are my own opinions and do not necessarily reflect the official positions or policies of the Uniformed Services University, the Department of Defense, or the Henry M. Jackson Foundation. So I'm here today with Dr. Amy Eichner from the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, and I've worked with Amy for about 10 years now on different projects. And so Amy, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Amy Eichner. I am an advisor at the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency for anything drug and supplement related. And I'm also assistant professor at the College of Allied Health Sciences at USIS in human performance optimization. So I've also, enjoyed working with Andrea on all of these very important projects that on dietary supplements for all of our stakeholders.
So today we're talking briefly about high-risk supplements and ingredients, but I really want to point out that, not all supplements are bad. So we're not here to say all supplements are bad, but we really want to just point out some of the high-risk ones. And Amy, why don't you tell everyone about how dietary supplements can be risky for athletes?
Yeah, for sure. So dietary supplements, it's the way that they're regulated, there's just a lot of chances for them to become contaminated or deliberately spiked with things that are prohibited in sport. So athletes can test positive from using a dietary supplement, in fact. But also they can suffer health problems, like even if they're not drug tested, they could still suffer health problems. And another thing we see a lot of times is that athletes will spend a lot of time and energy looking for the supplements that are going to give them that edge. A lot of times the supplements don't and can't even do what they promise, but athletes believe it so much that they just waste a lot of time and energy.
Well, just as you just said, for military service members, they can also have a positive drug test. And we have examples, and we've seen that happen, unfortunately. And they also can suffer adverse events and have health problems. And that really leads to things that can affect performance and readiness. And as you and I have talked about many times, many military service members also compete in sporting events. And so they are drug tested, and they might be doing marathons or triathlons or weightlifting competitions. And so it's just really, really important for military service members, for athletes to be informed supplement users and to really keep up with the topic and all of the important information that are pushed out on your site and our site.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So Amy, did you want to say a couple of other things about how some of the things we've done and over the course of the years, and particularly maybe, I know we have our high risk list on both sites, but anything else you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I mean, the high risk list, that's been a really interesting project working with you guys on that, because a lot of, like you said, a lot of military service members might not see themselves as, stakeholders of USADA, like that, they're not going to get drug tested for sports. They just think about the military rules, or, vice versa. A lot of athletes might just, not really think about supplement use in the context of the military, even though, like you said, there are plenty of military folks that turn up for a marathon or a triathlon or something like that. So it's just been really surprising to me to see how important the high risk list is for both of our organizations, and just how universal the high risk list is. So as you've seen, like a lot of people might think, well, I'm not a drug tested athlete. Why should I really care? I don't really have to worry about this. But the truth is that Things that are on the WADA prohibited list have no business being in dietary supplements anyway. So, you know, things that are prohibited in sport are things like steroids, investigational drugs like SARMs, or like new peptide hormones. And none of those things belong in a dietary supplement. I know the FDA makes their best effort that they can to go after companies that market these ingredients. But as you know, there's just so many out there that I think for a drug tested athlete, whether you're in the military, whether you're like an athlete or you're drug tested as part of the military, the high risk list is super important. But even if you're not tested at all, the high risk list provides information on some seriously dangerous ingredients that are in some of these products.
And that is so true. And we have documented cases of adverse events associated with military service members and dietary supplements. And back in 2012, as you remember, we had all those cases of adverse events and even a few deaths associated with dietary supplements containing the synthetic ingredient DMAA. In fact, that's how Operation Supplement Safety came about. At the time, the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs said, you know, we need a DoD-wide educational program. We need to increase awareness on this topic. And so that's how we came about, and we started partnering up with you. And I know you have an example as well due to contamination.
Yeah, and you know what, that DMAA one, that was really interesting because you'll remember that the dietary supplements at the time were labeling it as geranium oil. Mm-hmm. So it seemed like if you just looked at the label, it just seemed like, oh, this is just a little botanical, you know, totally safe. And yeah, there were some serious injuries from this novel stimulant. That was in the military, and in the for drug tested athletes, we had a lot of positives. A lot of athlete careers ruined or harmed because they used a product that they thought contained geranium oil, but didn't contain this synthetic stimulant. But yeah, and sadly, you know, we just keep getting more and more stories of situations like this. So we have a story of Abby Raymond, and you can find that on our website. It's a very sad, compelling story. She was a gymnast, switched to CrossFit, and then became a weightlifter at only 14. So a young budding athlete. She had a family friend that they started their own supplement company and offered her dietary supplements and a sponsorship. So for her, this was a huge deal. And, you know, she trusted her friend. And of course, I mean, this family friend who ran this business had absolutely the best intentions. But you know, she got drug tested and tested positive for ostarine, which we can come back to, but that is an investigational SARM. It has no business in the supplement. It's not even in any medications. She tested positive, and it just threw her whole life for a loop. People who are interested in the story, I encourage you to go and listen. It's had major implications on her whole life.
Well, Amy, of course, we see that ingredient and other SARM ingredients in dietary supplements, unfortunately. Actually, we have an example of one that lists ostarine on the supplement facts, but on another part of the label says not for human consumption research chemical. So that is an example for everyone to not just read what's on the supplement facts, but read the entire label. And as you pointed out, these are not dietary, they shouldn't be in dietary supplements.
Yeah, and actually the research only compounds, or, you know, things that they say not for human consumption, I mean, it's a totally different category. You're right, they're not dietary supplements, but from an athlete perspective, and perhaps as a military service member, they don't really see the distinction between the two. So that is an additional challenge. But what it means is that in a lot of cases, the FDA they might not necessarily have the legal tools to go after a product that is marketed not for human consumption. So yeah, it's even tougher to rein in those companies.
Yes, agreed, and that's a great point. So I also want to mention we've been really fortunate to participate in this COVID-19 series with Military One Source, and we know that a lot of information is being pushed out with regard to COVID-19 in particular, but not all of it's true, and there are a lot of fraudulent products on the market that claim to prevent, treat, mitigate, diagnose, or cure COVID-19. These include dietary supplements. There could also be unapproved drugs, over-the-counter tests, and devices. And so we have the link to the FDA warnings right on the bottom of, and there it's showing right there at FDA, but it's also available at the bottom of opss.org. And so we just really want to make sure that everyone's aware that FDA and FTC are alerting the public about firms marketing products with fraudulent prevention and treatment claims. And Amy, I think we have other examples of fraudulent contaminated products.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the FDA is going crazy on the COVID-19 false claims right now, for good reason. Like, this is a serious pandemic that we're dealing with, and we don't need any distractions. But I did want to draw people's attention to the fact that this kind of stuff has been going on for years. The FDA, they have a tainted supplements page. So as they become aware of supplements that have been tainted, they put them on this list, and anybody can access it. It is very overwhelming to look at this list. I've jotted down a few examples of things that have been detected in dietary supplements in 2020. I have to look at my list here though, because there's so many. So one example is in some dietary supplements, they have detected isobuclone, which is a hypnotic sedative. Diclofenac, which is a prescription anti-inflammatory drug. They've also detected sildenafil, which is a Viagra-like drug. Fluoxetine, which is the active ingredient in Prozac. They have detected that in products sold as dietary supplements. Another terrible example is sibutramine. So sibutramine, that is an off-market weight loss drug. It was taken off the market because it is extremely dangerous. Here's the thing. A lot of people go to dietary supplements because in their mind, they think they reject Western medicine. Like they don't want to go to the drugs and the prescriptions. They specifically go to dietary supplements to avoid using drugs. And that is just what is so painfully ironic and just plain awful, is that in the course of trying to do something natural, trying to do something healthy, trying to stay away from prescription medication, they are taking the exact drugs that they're trying to avoid. And I think that's really sad.
It is, and scary at the same time. And as a matter of fact, that tainted product list at the bottom of opss.org, again, we have the beginning of that feed, and then it takes the users over to FDA. But really, really concerning. And so that sort of leads us into another huge effort that we're teaming up again to work together. And I'm personally really excited about this because I always hear from service members, oh my gosh, I have to do so many steps to try to evaluate if a dietary supplement is safe or not. So we are working together, and you can jump in on an app that will be available hopefully maybe fall of 2021, fingers crossed. And it's going to hopefully take a lot of the guesswork out and alert not only military service members, but athletes about potentially problematic ingredients in the product that they scan. And also, is their product that they're interested in taking, does it have an ingredient on the DoD prohibited list of ingredients? Is it an ingredient that comes up on the FDA dietary supplement ingredient list? Amy, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So You know, we're really thrilled with the traction and the importance that our stakeholders have, you know, explained to us about the high risk list and how important that has been in a lot of their decision making process. But you know, we really want to make it better. There's a lot more information that should go into an equation about whether or not to use a supplement. And Andrea, I like this is the app that really wants to pull all of that together. So the idea is that it will have all of the high risk list products for sure, but it will also have a number of other tools. So we really want to pull in information from the FDA, you know, because there's a lot of products out there that they might not contain a substance that's prohibited in sport, for example. So for USADA, we wouldn't put that on the high risk list because that's kind of beyond the scope of what we need to do for that. But it's still really important information. So this app will pull in a lot of those warnings, a lot, you know, warning letters, concerns about other ingredients, more health concerns. And yeah, really just benefiting from the wealth of information that's out there and trying to put that all in one place. And with any luck, fingers crossed, we'll also have information about products that are third-party certified to assist, you know, in helping people make better decisions.
And the third-party certification, of course, both of our websites cover down on that topic. And we would love more time to talk about that because that's a really important topic. But I do want to point out in the meantime that we have an Ask Expert feature available at opss.org if someone has any questions about an ingredient or anything else related to the topic of dietary supplements. And I know also, Amy, your USADA reference page as well is an opportunity for athletes or anyone else to write to all of you with any questions or comments.
Yes, that's right. So anyone can reach us at drug reference, all one word, drug reference at usada.org. And there should be a link in the comments to take you to a page on the USADA website that explains how to call us, how to email us, how to ask questions, and we'd be happy to field any questions arising from this Facebook Live.
Well, Amy, any closing thoughts? Because of course you and I could go on and on and on all day, and during our meetings and now our virtual meetings, we always have so much to discuss and work on. So I just want to thank you so much for all that you do and for partnering up with us. And anything else you'd like to tell everyone?
Just, you know, keep in touch, follow all of these important resources on the numerous social channels. I know USADA, we push out a ton of information on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all kinds of places. And again, these topics are not just for drug-tested athletes. These are really health, safety, and wellness messages.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you again, and thank you again to Military OneSource, and happy holidays to everyone.